Hello and welcome to Medieval Murder, the podcast that brings all things gruesome and historical to the comfort of your own home or car or wherever it is you're listening from. My name is Hannah Purtymun, and I'm here with my father, Kevin Purtymun.
Hello.
To discuss some of the most famous and infamous murders that took place in the medieval and early modern periods. Medieval Murder came to be first as a blog, then as an Instagram, and now as a podcast after I finished my master's dissertation on homicide in early medieval England. The podcast will feature some of the most famous murders in medieval history, some mini-episode series on different types of medieval murders, and interviews with historians and history enthusiasts alike.
So last time we did the Battle of Northinch and the legend of Seth Moore, but I had questions about it. As you remember, we were kind of thinking Seth Moore was the last sole survivor, as we talked about Seth Moore's ghost. So I reached out to Callum Watson, a PhD battle master and expert in the field, and asked him about the Battle of Northinch and Seth Moore. So it appears that Seth Moore probably wasn't at the Battle of Northinch, that historians can see. That it's more of a legend along the lines of, just passed down for whatever reason. But everything associated with his grave, is probably, it's in the paper. So the ghost of Seth Moore is probably true. That he's the sole survivor of the Battle of Northinch, probably not true. But, again, that Henry Wynne Smith, who's the mercenary, who just is like, yeah, I'll jump in and I'll fight for you guys. He's got to be, I got to thinking about it, he's got to be the first, watch this, hold my beer, hold my ale, watch this shit. He's got to be that guy. So, I'm going with Henry Wynne Smith, badass. Anyway, I thought I'd give a little update that Seth Moore probably not at Northinch, but the legend and the ghost tales seem to be true, as far as I can tell.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, thanks for the update.
So what are we talking about today?
Today, we will be discussing the St. Scholastica Day Riot, which took place in Oxford in 1355. First, let's discuss who St. Scholastica was.
So, back in the day, did they call riots riots?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if it was like a modern term or people have been rioting since like the 1300s.
No, they've been rioting. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So Scholastica was born in the 5th century in Italy. We know about Scholastica as Pope Gregory I, also known as Gregory the Great, wrote about her in his 4-part book, Dialogues, which covered the saints and their miracles who lived in Italy during the 6th century. Saint Scholastica is sometimes referred to as the founder of the Benedictine nuns, as she established the first Benedictine convent, which was located outside of Rome. A few days before Scholastica's death, she went to speak with her brother, either in Christ or blood. I'm not really sure who he is to her, but some type of brother.
Okay, so just maybe a blood relation or maybe just a really good friend.
Or a monk, is kind of my thought, yeah.
Well, I mean, nuns could be friends with monks, I'm sure.
Yeah. Apparently, she wasn't finished speaking with him, and he wanted to go, so she bowed her head in prayer, and a massive storm appeared, so he was not able to leave, and they could finish their conversation.
Whoa.
So that's her like weird little miracle.
So she was. I assume we're going to be talking about what this conversation was about.
No, we're not. Actually, we don't know.
Oh man, because I mean,
I think it's more like it's the end of her life, and she knows it, and she's like, okay. I'm not done talking to you.
Are they in Rome when this happens, or
no? They're outside of his abbey because he is a monk.
Okay.
So they're somewhere outside his abbey.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, giant storm appears, so he can't leave.
Okay.
So she's got this captive audience.
So they're outside the abbey. She wants to talk to this guy, and he's ready to leave. Sounds like talking to my brother, actually. Like he wants to talk, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm out of here." But he wants to leave. She says a little prayer, and a storm comes, so he can't leave.
Yeah.
She's got some power.
So, yeah. So they were able to finish their conversation. And then 3 days later, she died and rose to heaven in the form of a shining white dove.
Well, if you're gonna go, that's first class.
Yeah. So, because of all of this, Saint Scholastica is the saint of the Benedictine nuns and education, and is often invoked against bad weather.
Okay.
So that's just kind of some background on who Saint Scholastica was, if anybody was wondering.
So, with all the different storms happening, due to global warming or climate change, I mean, we might be sending some positive vibes out to Saint Scholastica.
Yeah, maybe she can stop all the bad
Well,
weather.
I'm just kind of hoping she'll save my ass on a road trip, but okay.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the St. Scholastica Day Riot itself, we need to discuss some of the background into what was happening in Oxford around this time. The University of Oxford was founded in 1096 and became a central component of the town itself. Over the next couple hundred years, a division rose between the citizens of the town, the townies, and the university students and scholars, the gownies, since they wore academic robes.
Okay.
So, according to coroner's rolls from this period, between 1297 and 1322, there were several murders that occurred between the townies and gownies in Oxford.
Oh, murders.
So, yeah, several murders. There was a lot of tensions between the two. One such murder was the murder of Philip Port. The body of Philip Port was found beneath the north town wall in what is now the New College Garden on March 8th, 1305.
Now, do we know, was he a townie or a gownie?
So he is a townie.
Okay.
So he's a townie. So once his body was found, the hue and cry was raised. For some reason that night, neither of the town coroners were in Oxford. So Ralph de Hampton and John Francis were chosen to view the body by the town bailiff. Upon examination, Philip was found to have a wound across his forehead from ear to ear, so deep that his brains were scattered about around him.
Ooh, that sounded like, that's not just your ordinary knife. That's got to be a sword.
Yeah.
A sword of some type.
Well, and Philip also had another wound on his face, about 4 inches long and 1 inch wide, and through it you could see his teeth. So they've smashed into his brains and his forehead, and then you could see his teeth through his cheek.
Oh, okay.
His hand had also been cut off at the wrist and was laying off to the side of his body.
All right. Yeah, that sounded like a heavy weapon to me.
Yeah.
An axe or a sword.
Exactly. So due to the extent and nature of his wounds, it was believed that he was attacked and killed with a hatchet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So later that day, an inquisition into Philip's murder was held. Several jurors were selected from the local parish, and many of them had actually witnessed Philip Port's last evening. Supposedly, some of the jurors witnessed John de Berdon of Leicestershire the night before call into Philip's chamber and ask him to go to the tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them also heard him promising Philip that he would buy him a drink if he came out with them.
Okay, so this is, what year is this? 1300?
55. Oh, no, this one is 1305.
1305. So it's kind of sounded like, even in 1305, college towns are college towns. We got people hitting the bars, hitting the pubs, hitting the taverns.
Oh, you have no idea.
Hitting the taverns.
Yeah.
It sounds like Oxford party school? I don't know. I don't know.
We'll see a little bit more later.
Okay. But yeah, it sounded like things hadn't changed that much.
So, I mean, I think John de Berdon convinced Philip to come out, so the pair went to the tavern and drank for a couple hours until curfew. The two of them then supposedly parted ways outside of the tavern. Philip headed back to his lodgings, and his path home took him under the town's east gate, and when he was in the shadow of the wall, 5 unknown clerks ambushed him. Philip attempted to flee, but the men chased him down and beat him and hit him with a hatchet until he was dead. After they were sure he was dead, the 5 clerks fled.
Okay, so the guy that invited him out to the bar or to the tavern, was he was another Gownie or was he a townie?
I think he... so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what he was, but the 5 clerks were Gownies.
Were Gownies?
Yeah, the 5 clerks who attacked him were Gownies. And Philip was a townie.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So the jurors came to the conclusion that John de Berden, who had been drinking with Philip the night before, was the cause of his death, and that it was through him that the 5 clerks committed the murder. Which I'm not really sure why they think that.
How you make that jump?
Yeah, I don't think it was recorded why they thought that, but that's what they thought.
Okay.
And so this murder could be considered part of the Gownie versus townie tension, because Philip Port was a townie murdered by 5 clerks who were Gownies.
Yeah.
However, the true motive for this murder is unknown to this day, and it's possible that Philip Port was murdered due to a personal vendetta or feud, and records don't show if anyone was actually ever persecuted for the crime.
Yeah, I think it goes to kind of show that it doesn't... Sometimes the facts, especially, in history, get obscured by time. But even at the time, they're not known. But it goes to show how people will give it their own spin to suit their needs. I mean, it might have not had anything to do with townies and gownies, but if there's an element of unknown what happened, people will read into that, whether you're a townie or a gownie, and say, oh, we must go to war,
Yeah.
So in absence of truth, people's tiny little minds take over.
Yeah. So Philip Port's murder is just one of several that occurred leading up to the St. Scholastica Day Riot. 6 years before the riot, the Black Plague made its way into Oxford.
Ooh.
And a large portion of the population either died or moved away to escape death. However, this actually just served to raise tensions between the townies and gownies, as everyone was lacking money for necessities.
Okay. Got some...
So there's just a bunch of tension. It's a bad time. Everybody's died. These are the survivors, 6 years later.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, you got the Black Plague roll into town. You might not have, the money for food or,
Yeah.
There was so much around the Black Plague about what is causing it.
Yeah, so there's just... everybody's a little paranoid.
Sounds like COVID.
Everybody's a little on edge. Yeah.
Sounds like COVID.
Yeah. So now on to the riot itself. On February 10th, 1355, St. Scholastica Day, a group of students were drinking in one of the town's taverns, the Swindlestock Tavern. And there's actually still an inscription where the tavern once stood in Oxford on the southwest corner of Carfax, where there is now a Santander Bank.
Oh.
So you can go look at the little inscription that is like, tavern stood here from 1270 until... can't remember what year it went down.
I know you spent some time in Oxford. We went there for a little bit, and then you did some time. You did a summer session there. Do you remember seeing that?
No.
No,
I don't.
I mean, and talking about the wall, and I can see, after being there, seeing how the college is laid out. How it's a big influence on the town. And I can think back in the day that, it's a beautiful campus, and you might have been living in a hut, so I can see where there might be a little animosity there, know, for sure. I mean, even when we were there, you were a student, but there were even places you couldn't go because you weren't a student of that college, which is like, really? Seriously? So I'm sure there was some animosity there.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so these students are drinking in the Swindlestock Tavern and decide to complain about the quality of the wine.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the owner of the tavern at this time was John Barford or de Barriford, depending on how you read his signature, I think. And John Barford was actually the mayor of the town of Oxford at one time. So he's not the mayor now, but he was previously the mayor.
So he's politically connected.
Yes. So now, Barford apparently responded to these complaints with stubborn and saucy language.
Right on.
So I'm assuming he cursed at them.
Yeah.
That's my assumption.
Yeah, I can imagine my reaction if I was running a bar and people didn't like my beer, you know?
Yeah. But in response to this, one of the students threw a quart pot at his head.
A what?
A quart pot. And so I think it's just like, it's a little, pot that I think he was drinking wine out of at the time that holds about a quart of liquid.
Oh man, if you're drinking a quart of wine at a time, yeah, I can see the bar getting a little out of hand.
And it did.
Okay.
Yeah, so he throws it at his head. I'm not sure if the pot hit him, but the townspeople who were in the tavern at the time immediately ran to his aid. They're pissed. This has started some shit. So one of the townsmen ran and rang the bell at the city church, calling the other townspeople to arms.
Oh.
In turn,
oh crap!
Yeah,
we got a grapevine, man.
Yeah, and in turn, the students ran and rang the bell at the university church. So now they've both calling their men to arms. They're like, somebody threw a pot at his head. They cursed. Now we're fighting.
Okay, so you just can't in my day, you would get to a phone and you'd call your friends to tell what's going on. Now you text them or, but there's always a system of communication. I love it.
Yeah, and they rang the bell. And, about 30 minutes later, this escalated things into a full-blown riot. People are spilling out of the tavern into the street fighting. Because now both townspeople and students have gathered to help their respective sides. And a lot of them were armed. And so those who have arms have bows and arrows and cudgels and staves. This is a bar fight gone wrong.
Yeah, and I'm sure at that time, I don't think there's probably a constabulary. There's not 5-0. There's not the popo.
Well, they have bailiffs.
They have bailiffs?
But the bailiffs are on the side of the townspeople.
Oh, quite right.
Yeah. So this is all happening on a Tuesday.
Wow. And Thursday night was a big night at the bar when I was in college, but I guess Tuesday, 13th.
Tuesday. Well, it is St. Scholastica Day.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a holiday. So, and I'm not sure if there was ever a break in the action, huh?
You gotta like the Catholic Church, man. We've got Lent and everything, but now we got parties going on Saints' days. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm not sure if there was ever a break in the action or if the brawling just continued overnight. But the next morning, which is a Wednesday, the current mayor of Oxford rode over to the town of Woodstock in order to seek the support of the king. So he's like, things have gotten out of hand. I need help.
Okay. All right.
But that morning, the town chancellor is also said to have put out a proclamation that no one should bear arms, assault anyone, or disturb the peace. So they're trying to stop the riot.
Okay.
This does not work. Because in the meantime, the town bailiffs have gone out into the countryside around the town and gathered 2,000 men, probably on outlying farms and stuff who are associated with the town.
Okay.
And gathers them to come into the town to aid the townspeople. And they were supposedly chanting, "Slay, slay, havoc, havoc, smite fast, give good knocks." They are ready to just bust up some scholars.
Okay, so I think what I'm seeing here is, we're going to restore order with overwhelming force. We're going to wipe these guys out. And then,
Yeah, they are pissed just because they complained about the wine and then threw a cup.
whoa, okay.
Pissed. It has escalated. And you can see where the desperation from the Black Plague could have contributed to this.
Right,
You know.
right. Yeah, I can see how what's been going on the last several years just might have boiled over.
Yeah. Well, and there's probably 100 years of tension leading up to this between the two sides.
Correct.
You know, so these people hold a grudge anyway.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now armed with reinforcements, the townspeople broke into the academic halls, wreaking havoc and killing students and scholars.
Oh.
About 80,
Oh, this is getting way out of control.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is like a couple of day riot.
Yeah, so this is the second day of the riot.
Okay.
Yeah. So about 80 townsmen went to St. Giles Church in the north part of the town, where they knew some scholars were hiding, and chased them to the Augustine Priory. They killed at least one student and injured many others, and a master of theology was also shot with an arrow when he tried to leave the priory.
Wow.
So, like, all these townspeople from around the countryside are just, like, flowing in. And the students realize this is what's happening. So the students locked and barricaded some of the town's gates to stop an influx from outsiders coming in from a new direction. But this doesn't stop it, because there's a bunch of people already in the town. And so a bunch of the citizens now break into 5 of the inns and hostels where they, feasted on the food and drink inside. So now we're just looting.
Okay.
Looting the area.
No flat screens to take. I got it.
No.
We're going for food.
Just the wine and the food.
Wine and the food. Okay. Take what you can get. I like it.
Yeah. But any student who was found was killed or maimed.
Whoa.
And many of the bodies of the students were buried in dung hills, left in the gutters, dumped into privies, or thrown into the River Thames. So the townspeople have just, like, lost their shit.
This is crazy. I mean, this is mayhem at its finest.
Yeah, and this lasted until Thursday. So this is a 3-day riot.
Wow. Okay. But there's really no one to restore order, because the people who are in charge of restoring order are just
helping the townspeople.
Are just perpetuating the problem.
Yeah, and the mayor, because I mean the chancellor probably can't do anything because the bailiffs aren't listening to him. The mayor has left to go get help to make it stop.
Right. If I was the chancellor, I'd be in hiding. We've got an angry mob outside.
Yeah, he's probably hiding. I don't know where he would hide at this point because they've broken into everywhere. But he's probably hiding. But yeah, so 3 days of this, of just all-out chaos. So at the end of the riot, 62 students and scholars and 30 townspeople had been killed.
Wow, almost 100 people.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I mean, all over wine that didn't taste good. Now.
Yeah. And that's a large number of people even today, let alone in a town that had been ravaged by the plague in the 1300s.
Right. No, I mean, if there was a riot, I'm thinking in the United States where almost 100 people got killed, I mean, you'd see the National Guard roll in, you'd see, a ton of I mean, it'd be crazy. But
yeah.
And the other thing that I keep thinking, I mean, we're not there yet, but I'm just like, how did Oxford survive this as an institution?
Right.
Why would you?
Why would you stay?
Yeah, I got a academic whatever scholarship. Let's just put it in today's terms. I got a scholarship to go to Oxford. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the place to be.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. And I mean, we were there. I mean, that's the cool thing about history, what you don't know. But then when you start finding out things that went on, I mean, we were there.
Yeah.
I mean, it puts it in a whole new perspective for me.
Yeah, just like bodies laying in the streets, like just like
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it just puts it in a whole new perspective where what happened, you know, you're there and it's nice and you go to a Waterstones and you go in the buttery and you hit a pub and you do,
Yeah.
you do your thing. But what happened, what went on there before? That's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
when we were in Amsterdam, to think about the Nazis coming in and deporting Jews and the Anne
Yeah.
Frank house. I mean, you kind of knew what you were kind of seeing if you've read any history, but I had no idea when we were there what had gone on before.
No. Yeah,
I
you
mean,
just
that's
don't
why
think
history
about
is
it.
so cool. I
Yeah.
mean, interesting. Wow.
Yeah. So, obviously this is a terrible, terrible situation. So, the mayor has finally gotten the king to roll in. So, I don't know if the king rolls in Thursday or Friday, but King Edward III rolls into town.
And he doesn't go anywhere alone, I'm sure.
Oh, no, he's got everybody with him, I'm sure.
Right.
I think he comes actually.
Right. Okay.
Or maybe he just sent people, but I mean his posse rolls into town.
Right.
And so after the riot, John Barford, the tavern owner, ended up being imprisoned in the Tower of London.
Okay, so he survived the riot.
He survived the riot, but because I think he basically caused the riot, he has been imprisoned in the Tower of London. And I'm assuming, because it doesn't say anything that I can find that he, survived the Tower of London, I'm pretty sure he died there.
Oh, okay. We're not
Yeah,
messing
so
around.
No. And so the king rolls in, or somebody for him rolls in, and hold a short trial to kind of get a grip on what has happened. And after the trial, King Edward III felt that the townspeople also deserved to be punished for what they had done. So the king decided to punish them with annual ritual humiliation that would last 500 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is ritual humiliation?
So for them, every St. Scholastica Day, the mayor and bailiffs had to attend a mass for the souls of the dead and to swear an oath to observe the university's privileges. The oath itself was actually already in existence, and it had been sworn since 1213, following the murder of 3 clerks by townsmen. So, the tensions have lasted a very long time.
Okay, so I'm thinking that was a step in keeping Oxford going.
Well, and there's more to it.
Okay.
So they have to go to mass and atone, say the oath, and then together with 62 citizens representing the number of scholars slain, the mayor and bailiffs would march to the university church, where the vice chancellor of the university would be waiting for them, together with the vicar of St. Mary the Virgin Church, the proctors, and the university registrar. The bailiffs then had to hand over 63 pence, usually in small silver coins, for the death of those people.
Wow. So let's see. So that would have gone on until the 1800s.
And it did. It lasted until 1825.
Wow.
And the University of Oxford actually let them out of their contract to do this ritual humiliation, 30 years early in 1825.
Okay. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
So it's crazy to me that they listened to the king for 500 years after he was dead.
That is crazy. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy, but I think you know if you if you forget your history, you don't know how you got where you're at.
Yeah.
So I think that it's a good way to remember how you got where you're at.
Yeah.
And I think it went probably kind of a it went to continuing Oxford, the university.
Mhm.
That's a wild story. This might be one of the wildest ones that we've talked about to me. Just
I mean, it sprung up from almost nowhere.
yeah, I mean,
It's not revenge. It's just like
tensions are high,
bar fight turns into riot.
right? Now,
Almost 100 people dead.
now the post you put out had something about poisoned wine. Did they think the wine was poisoned?
Oh no, it just said complains about wine.
Oh, complaints about wine. Okay, I thought,
Yeah.
well, because you were talking murder, I thought someone had poisoned the wine. I
Oh no.
made a jump there. I need to
I'm sure
communicate
we'll
more.
get there at some point. Maybe a little bit of Catherine de Medici later. She's definitely poisoning people.
Okay. Yeah, there's not a lot of new. I mean, not a lot of new stuff in history. We repeat things a lot. Like, you know, you're talking about she may have poisoned people, and I'm thinking of like Jim Jones and poisoning his cult in Guyana.
Is that Heaven's Gate?
No, that was actually in Santa Fe, and that was they.
Oh, Heaven's Gate was in Santa Fe?
Yeah, they thought
Yeah.
aliens were coming, and they didn't show up.
That's what it was, yes.
Yes, but you know, Jim Jones was. Now we're really getting off the topic of medieval stuff. Jim Jones had a cult in Guyana, and they were closing in on him, so he gave everybody Kool-Aid, and they all drank it, but it was poisoned.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I mean, careful who you follow.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. There's a lot of cult leaders out there right now, I'm sure.
Oh yes.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on.
But if anything, doing the podcast and listening to the podcast, what we know is there's been weird stuff going on for hundreds, thousands of years.
True.
I don't know. So the king rolls in, kind of settles it all down.
Yep.
And then were there any other like similar incidents after this in Oxford or?
I don't think so. I think 500 years of ritual humiliation kind of made it end. There were definitely some more. I'm sure there were more towny gowny murders, but nothing like this.
Nothing that got super
Huge.
out of hand.
No. But yeah, so super super crazy.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
almost 100 people in 3 days. Just, and then the description of the murder that started it all.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, and then I'm sure there was some simmering going on, and then they went to the pub and got. I mean, if we're drinking quarts of wine, yeah,
Yeah. Things are gonna get out of hand.
Yeah, and then after your first quart of wine, do you really know what the next one's going to taste like that you're going to like complain?
Right? Well, and who knows how long they'd been drinking for this complaint to come about.
Ooh, maybe it was a tavern crawl back in the day.
Yeah, maybe he was watering down his wine. That was a
Well,
crime back then, I believe.
was it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I I don't know. Now we're like getting off the beaten track, but I mean, if you're watering down your wine, I mean, it might be the way of trying to keep control of these guys. They keep
Or
wanting
save
more
money,
wine.
but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
maybe save money, but maybe like these guys are getting like super out of hand. We got to do something, instead of
Yeah.
like today
Maybe
they'll
they did
cut
just
you
start
off.
doling out the cheap stuff after they drank some.
Yeah, well, maybe it's like, okay, I don't know what the, I don't know if back in the day they'd be like, okay, you've had enough, we're cutting you off. How that would go over,
I don't I don't know specifically.
because I know I've been places and they're like, oh, I'm cutting you off, and I get a little upset.
Yeah.
But at the end
Well,
of the day, it's the right thing to do.
yeah. Thank you for listening to Medieval Murder. If you have any listener questions, comments, or topic suggestions, please feel free to reach out via our Twitter account at Murder Medieval, our Instagram account at Medieval Murder, or via email at info.medievalmurder@gmail.com. Also, check out our new merch available on our website, medievalmurder.org. Tune in later for our next podcast.